Chosen one, be still for a moment. Can you feel it? That quiet stirring inside your chest, the warmth that feels like both fire and peace. That's not anxiety. That's the Holy Spirit moving. Something divine has entered your atmosphere. You're being transformed, not slowly, but deeply. This isn't just about healing your pain. It's about awakening your power. The Spirit is reaching into the hidden places, the thoughts you never voiced, the wounds you tried to forget, and turning them into light. Heaven is saying, I'm not just fixing you, I'm forming you. The fire that once felt like it would consume you is now the very force refining you. Every emotion you've felt, every tear you've shed, every silence you've sat in, they were all part of your remaking. So if everything around you feels unfamiliar right now, it's because God is not building the old you stronger. He's building the new you holy. The transformation has already begun inside where no one can see, but soon everyone will. Prepare yourself, chosen one. The Spirit is working in ways your words can't explain, and your soul already knows it's true. Chosen one, something is happening within you that words can barely hold. You may not see the full picture yet, but your spirit feels the shift, the quiet movement beneath the surface, the subtle pull towards stillness, the deep knowing that life is never going to look the same again. This isn't imagination. It's divine initiation. The Holy Spirit has begun its sacred work inside you. It starts quietly, almost unnoticeably. A sudden sensitivity to energy, a distaste for noise, a pull towards solitude that feels both confusing and peaceful. It's heaven, drawing you inward, away from distraction, into transformation. Because before the Spirit changes your world, it must first change your core. For too long, your heart has carried battles no one saw. You've smiled through pain, endured storms in silence, and held yourself together when your strength should have failed. The Holy Spirit saw all of it. Every hidden tear, every exhausted prayer. And now, heaven has decided it's time. Time to rebuild you from within. This inner work isn't about improvement. It's about rebirth. God isn't patching old wounds. He's removing what caused them. He isn't mending the cracks. He's reshaping the vessel. The Spirit is going deeper than emotion. It's touching the architecture of your soul. Ask yourself, why do you feel so different lately, even if nothing in your outer life has changed? Why does peace feel both near and far, as though you're standing between worlds? It's because the Spirit is excavating layers of who you thought you were, revealing the divine blueprint of who you've always been. Transformation starts as disorientation. Before things align, they must first come apart. The Holy Spirit doesn't rush. It enters like light through cracks, slowly, steadily, until there's no shadow left to hide in. Every moment of stillness is an operation. Every breath you take is part of the healing. You may think you're doing nothing, but your silence is sacred work. This is how heaven renews you. Not in chaos, but in calibration. Not with noise, but with knowing. The Spirit is reorganizing your energy, rewiring your mind, and rebalancing your heart. That's why your emotions feel unpredictable. One moment you want to cry, the next you feel peace for no reason at all. It's the rhythm of spiritual reconstruction. Think of it like this. A sculptor doesn't add to the marble, he removes what doesn't belong. That's what the Holy Spirit is doing with you. Every delay, every silence, every wave of emotion is a chisel strike from heaven, shaping you into the image you were created to reflect. The process may feel like loss, but it's liberation. The Spirit never takes without replacing. It removes the false so truth can stand. Ask yourself, what if this heaviness is not something to escape, but something to honor? What if the weight you feel is simply the density of heaven settling into your soul? Because that's what this is. God's presence taking root where fear once lived. His peace building walls where worry once whispered. His truth echoing where self-doubt used to speak. This is the inner work, the undoing of illusion and the unveiling of light. It doesn't happen in one prayer, one night, or one revelation. It happens moment by moment, surrender by surrender, until the old you quietly fades and the new you begins to rise. Chosen one, you are not breaking, you are being rebuilt. The silence is not absence, it's surgery. The stillness is not emptiness, it's incubation. The Spirit is constructing a new frequency within you, one that aligns perfectly with the divine. So stop questioning what's wrong with you. Nothing is wrong. Everything is becoming right. You are being rewired to carry heaven's energy in human form. This is what it means to be transformed, to become transparent enough for God's light to shine through. It's already begun. The Spirit has entered the deepest chambers of your soul, rearranging what once felt permanent. The world won't see it yet, but soon it will. Because what starts in secret always ends in revelation, and your revelation has already begun. Why your old self can no longer return. Chosen one, you've felt it. That invisible distance between who you were and who you're becoming. No matter how hard you try to go back to old patterns, old spaces, or old energies, something inside you won't let you fit anymore. That's not failure. That's transformation. The Holy Spirit has shifted your spiritual blueprint, and your old self no longer has permission to exist in this new vibration of truth. There comes a moment in every divine journey when heaven closes the door behind you. Not because you've done something wrong, but because your soul has outgrown its previous container. The friendships, the habits, the comforts that once defined your stability now feel foreign. You've changed frequencies, and everything that once matched your former energy begins to fade. Ask yourself, why does returning to old habits suddenly feel heavy? Why do certain conversations drain you, even if they used to make you laugh? It's because the Spirit has elevated your sensitivity. Your inner world no longer aligns with environments that aren't growing. You're vibrating at the rhythm of heaven now, and anything that doesn't resonate with divine harmony becomes noise to your spirit. The Holy Spirit isn't erasing who you were. It's redeeming who you were meant to be all along. Your old self was built on survival. Your new self is rooted in surrender. One fought for control, the other trusts divine timing. One lived by fear, the other breathes by faith. And once your soul has tasted that kind of freedom, it can never go back to captivity. Think about it. When a butterfly emerges from the cocoon, its wings carry the memory of confinement. But those same wings will never fit back into the space they came from. That's you, chosen one. You've been reformed in silence, and the life you used to live can no longer hold the magnitude of your becoming. This is why certain doors won't open, no matter how much you knock. It's why old dreams have lost their pull, and why the same words no longer ignite you. The Spirit has redefined what fulfillment means for you. You're no longer drawn to what entertains you. You crave what enlightens you. That's how you know you've crossed the invisible line between past and purpose. There's grief in this stage, and heaven understands that. You're mourning not because something is wrong, but because your soul is shedding layers of identity that once kept you safe. It's the death of the false self, the image the world taught you to build, the mask you wore to be accepted, the armor you carried to be strong. But now the Spirit says you don't need that anymore. Because divine strength doesn't come from defense, it comes from trust. Ask yourself, how many times has God pulled you away from something you thought you couldn't live without, only for you to later realize it was never meant to stay? That was mercy in disguise. Every separation, every delay, every silence was heaven, cutting cords to a version of you that couldn't carry this level of light. The old you was built for survival in a lower frequency, but this new you is being designed for abundance, peace, and clarity. You've been rewritten from within. Your thoughts, your heart, your desires. They no longer orbit the same center. You no longer chase what drains you. You attract what aligns with you. The Holy Spirit is not asking you to forget your past. It's asking you to forgive it, to see it as the soil that birthed your awareness. Because every hardship, every heartbreak, every failure was a lesson written in fire. And fire doesn't destroy the gold, it purifies it. That's what's happening inside you. The flames of refinement have burned away what wasn't true. Chosen one, your spirit is now unrecognizable to the old world, and that's exactly how it should be. The people who once understood your words may no longer grasp your silence. The places that once gave you comfort may now feel too small. That's not loneliness. It's liberation. Heaven doesn't call you backward. It calls you upward. You've stepped through an invisible gate, and there's no returning to who you were before this awakening began. That old self served its purpose. It brought you here, but now the Spirit is saying, leave the shell behind. You've outgrown it, your wings are ready. Your frequency has changed, and what once defined you no longer describes you. So stop trying to resurrect what God has released. Stop mourning a version of yourself that was never meant to cross this threshold. You are no longer being repaired. You are being reborn. The old self was survival. The new self is salvation. And that transformation is already sealed in heaven. Chosen one, every transformation comes with a breaking. And though you may call it pain, heaven calls it proof. Because before the Holy Spirit can fill your hands with the new, it must first empty them of what no longer serves your divine becoming. Letting go isn't punishment, it's passage. And that ache in your spirit, it's the sound of your soul expanding. There's a sacred sorrow that arrives when the Spirit begins to separate you from your old attachments. It doesn't feel holy at first. It feels like loss, like confusion, like silence, where there used to be noise. You start to wonder why the things that once made you feel alive suddenly feel heavy. Why people who once fit your heart now feel foreign to your energy. It's because the Spirit is pruning. It's removing everything that can't survive your next level of light. Ask yourself, why does release hurt so much if it's meant for my good? Because love leaves fingerprints, even on lessons. And heaven knows that. But spiritual maturity isn't about avoiding pain. It's about recognizing its purpose. Pain is the body's cry for healing, but it's also the soul's signal of expansion. When you outgrow something, your spirit feels the stretch before your mind understands it. You're not just losing people, habits, or memories. You're losing limitations. Everything the Holy Spirit is asking you to release is something that once comforted your old self, but would confine your new one. And the ache of that detachment is sacred. It's your soul learning how to live without the weight it once have thought it needed. There's a kind of grief that comes with growth. You'll cry for things that didn't work out. You'll miss people you no longer align with. You'll question whether you made the right choices. But deep down, something in you knows this pain has meaning. This emptiness is not absence, it's preparation. The soil must feel barren before it can bloom again. Think about it. Even Jesus wept before resurrection. Even light breaks before it shines. So why would your rebirth come without the sting of release? The Spirit is teaching you that faith isn't proven by what you hold onto. It's proven by what you trust God to take away. Ask yourself, how many times did you cling to something simply because it was familiar, not because it was holy? Now the Spirit is showing you the difference. Familiarity can feel safe, but still keep you small. And heaven will never allow comfort to become your cage. When you let go, you're not walking away empty-handed. You're walking away unburdened. The things that left weren't your loss. They were your lesson. And lessons don't leave you weaker. They leave you wiser. Every ending you've endured has secretly rewritten your soul with strength. This is the pain of spiritual evolution. It asks you to release before you receive, to trust before you understand, to surrender before you see the blessing. It's the fire that purifies, not destroys. It's the divine ache that forges endurance in your spirit. So when you feel that wave of sadness rise up, don't fight it. Sit with it. Let the tears wash away the residue of your former self. Because every tear shed in obedience becomes water for your new season. Soon, you'll look back and realize you didn't lose anyone. You didn't lose anything. You simply became too aligned to stay where you once were. And the pain that once felt unbearable will become your badge of proof. Proof that you didn't give up when growth hurt the most. Chosen one, you are not breaking down. You are being broken open. The Spirit is carving out space for abundance, clarity, and peace. This ache is the echo of the old self releasing its final breath. Don't rush it. Don't numb it. Let it do its work. Because when the pain fades, and it will, you'll stand in awe of the new life emerging from its ashes. And in that moment, you'll understand. The pain of letting go was never a sign of loss. It was the unmistakable proof that the transformation had begun. How the Holy Spirit cleanses the hidden corners. Chosen one, the Holy Spirit doesn't just transform what is seen. It heals what has been hiding. It goes into the silent corners of your heart, the places you never dared to visit, the memories you buried because they hurt too much to face. It's there, in those unspoken spaces, that the Spirit begins its holiest work. Because the true cleansing doesn't happen where others can see you shine. It happens where only God can see you bleed. You see, heaven is not afraid of your darkness. The Spirit doesn't flinch at the things you've kept secret. It moves straight toward the brokenness you try to hide and whispers, "This, too, can be redeemed." Nothing in you is too far gone, no wound is too deep, no mistake too permanent, no silence too long. The same light that created the stars is now touching the most shadowed parts of your soul. Ask yourself, why do old memories keep resurfacing lately? Why do emotions you thought were healed suddenly return, demanding attention? Because the Holy Spirit is cleaning house. It's stirring the dust so that what once lingered in darkness can finally be brought into the light. Healing cannot happen where honesty is absent. So the Spirit brings truth to every corner you once avoided. This cleansing isn't comfortable. It will make you feel raw, exposed, vulnerable. You'll face moments when tears come without warning, when you feel tired for no reason, when solitude calls louder than conversation. That's the divine detox, the sacred purging of energies that no longer belong in your system. The Holy Spirit is extracting every residue of pain that your body learned to carry in silence. It's not punishment, it's purification. You've asked for peace, and peace can only exist where pretenses have died. So the Spirit begins removing everything in you that resists truth. The resentment hidden beneath smiles, the guilt buried under strength, the self-blame disguised as humility. One by one, these false layers are peeled away until only authenticity remains. Think of your soul as a temple. Over the years, dust has gathered in its corners, forgotten disappointments, silent grudges, quiet fears. Now the Holy Spirit walks through that temple with holy fire in its hands, not to destroy, but to disinfect. It lights the corners, burns away the cobwebs, and fills the air with new breath. You'll feel the burn because the divine fire purifies what human hands could never reach. Ask yourself, how many times have you prayed for freedom, but still held on to fragments of what broke you? Now the Spirit is saying, let me finish what you started. You don't have to hide your pain to be holy. Holiness is not perfection, it's transparency before God. The moment you stop pretending you're fine, heaven begins to work in full force. This cleansing is not just emotional, it's spiritual DNA repair. It rewires your thought patterns, purifies your intuition, and restores your ability to hear divine instruction without interference. That's why you've been craving quiet lately. Heaven can't cleanse what the world keeps distracting. The silence you're living in is not absence, it's operation. It may feel lonely at times, but solitude is the Spirit's sanctuary. It's where your soul gets reintroduced to itself. In that stillness, you begin to notice the difference between pain that harms and pain that heals. One wounds, the other refines. You're experiencing the latter. The Holy Spirit is rewriting your inner language. It's replacing self-doubt with divine assurance, shame with purpose, and confusion with clarity. You'll start to feel lighter, not because life has changed, but because you have. The heaviness that once clung to your heart will fall away quietly, like dust shaken from wings that are ready to fly again. Remember this: what the Spirit cleanses, it also claims. Every part of you that once felt too broken to love is now being reclaimed by heaven. Nothing is wasted, not the tears, not the anger, not the silence. Everything you've endured is now being turned into sacred strength. Chosen one, the cleansing is not a season. It's a sanctification. It's not about erasing your past, but about removing its power over your present. And when the Spirit finishes its work, you won't just feel healed. You'll feel holy, because every hidden corner that once held pain will now echo with peace. So don't fear what's being uncovered. Let it come up. Let it move through. Let it go. Because this is how the Holy Spirit works. Quietly, deeply, completely. And soon, when you look within, you'll realize the darkness you once feared is now filled with light. Chosen one, you've reached the part of your journey that few are willing to walk. The edge of comfort. It's the place where everything familiar starts to fade and the Holy Spirit whispers, "Come deeper." This is the moment when true transformation begins. Not when everything feels easy or makes sense, but when you decide to trust even as everything comfortable is stripped away. The Spirit knows that comfort can be dangerous. It can become a silent cage, dressed as peace. It convinces you that staying still is safe, when in truth, it's spiritual sleep. So God, in His mercy, begins to stir what you thought was settled. He disrupts your patterns, interrupts your plans, and invites you into unfamiliar territory. It's not rejection, it's redirection. Ask yourself, why do the things that once made you happy now feel hollow? Why does your soul long for something you can't name? Because you're outgrowing the old vibration. The comfort that once served your healing now threatens your growth. The Holy Spirit won't let you stay small. Transformation is never born in ease. It's born in friction. In those holy moments when your faith feels tested, your heart feels stretched, and your spirit feels like it's walking blindfolded. It's in those exact moments that heaven whispers, "I'm here." Keep walking, because the Spirit doesn't need your comfort. It needs your surrender. There's a sacred discomfort that always comes before expansion. It's that ache that tells you the season is shifting, even when nothing visible has changed. It's the same feeling a seed must endure underground. The pressure, the darkness, the uncertainty, before it breaks open into new life. You're in that stage now. The Spirit is pressing you not to punish you, but to push you toward purpose. Think about the times when life felt heavy, when every door seemed to close, when silence became your only company. That wasn't stagnation. It was gestation. Heaven was growing something inside you that the surface couldn't yet reveal. You prayed for transformation, and God answered, not with comfort, but with construction. Ask yourself, how can the Spirit rebuild your life if you keep holding on to what no longer fits? Every transformation demands release. The Spirit doesn't rebuild on cluttered foundations. It must remove the old structures, even the ones you thought you needed, to make room for what's divinely designed. This is why certain connections fall apart without warning, why your plans suddenly lose momentum, why peace feels delayed but never denied, because heaven is rearranging everything to match your new identity. Transformation isn't about improvement, it's about alignment. And alignment always begins where comfort ends. The truth is, if you could see what the Spirit is preparing, you'd understand why things had to shift. The old version of your life cannot carry the weight of what's coming. And that's why the Spirit is gently, and sometimes painfully, detaching you from what no longer aligns. Chosen one, this is your spiritual exodus. You're being led out of comfort zones that disguise themselves as blessings. It may feel like loss, but in truth, it's liberation. Because the same walls that once kept you safe are now blocking your expansion, and heaven loves you too much to let you stay behind them. So when everything around you starts to feel uncertain, remember this: discomfort is not the absence of God, it's the evidence of His movement. The Spirit lives in transition, not in stagnation. Every step into the unknown is a declaration of faith that says, I trust you more than I trust my comfort. The transformation will not happen in the familiar. It happens in the wilderness, the sacred space between who you were and who you are becoming. There, in the silence, your soul learns to rely not on what it sees, but on what it feels. That's where miracles begin, not in clarity, but in surrender. And soon, this discomfort will make sense. You'll look back and realize that everything you lost was only the shell that protected your growth. The Spirit didn't take comfort from you to punish you. It removed it so you could remember how to fly. Chosen one, don't fear the unfamiliar. It's not a void, it's a womb. The pressure you feel is the sound of heaven birthing your next season. This is what transformation feels like: sacred, stretching, uncomfortable, divine. So let go of your grip on what was. The Holy Spirit isn't asking for perfection, only permission. Because true transformation doesn't start when you understand it. It starts when you say, yes, even here. Chosen one, you may not realize it yet, but the evidence of your rebirth is already all around you. Heaven doesn't rebuild your life overnight. It rebuilds your foundation. It starts quietly, invisibly, deep within your spirit where no one else can see. But soon, the signs begin to appear. They are subtle, sacred, and undeniable. You start to notice that what used to disturb your peace no longer gets a reaction out of you. The same situations that once drained your energy now meet a silence in you that feels like strength. That's not indifference. That's transformation. It's the Holy Spirit teaching your soul that not every battle deserves your fire. Ask yourself, why do I feel so different, even though nothing external has changed yet? Because heaven's reconstruction always begins on the inside. The Spirit is rearranging your inner world, cleansing your energy and tuning your frequency to divine alignment. Before God changes your circumstances, He changes you. You are being rebuilt from the inside out, brick by brick, truth by truth. One sign of this sacred rebuilding is the new calm that follows old chaos. You find yourself pausing before reacting. You think before speaking. You listen before judging. The same emotions that once ruled you now bow to discernment. That's what happens when the Spirit becomes your center. It doesn't remove your emotions, it refines them. Another sign is the sudden hunger for solitude. You used to chase distractions to escape yourself, but now you seek silence to find yourself. That shift is holy. The Spirit is no longer letting your peace depend on noise. It's anchoring you so deeply in God that even in isolation, you feel company. The loneliness that once broke you is now becoming sacred ground. Have you noticed how certain conversations feel harder to entertain? How gossip, negativity, and meaningless talk suddenly feel like pollution to your spirit? That's because your soul has matured. It no longer finds nourishment in what drains its light. The Holy Spirit is purifying your appetite, teaching you to crave truth wisdom, and authenticity over comfort and approval. And when heaven rebuilds you, your discernment sharpens. You begin to sense energy before words are spoken. You feel when something is wrong before it unfolds. It's not paranoia, it's perception. The Spirit is awakening your spiritual senses, training you to move by intuition, not impulse. You start trusting the quiet no inside you more than the loud yes from the world. Ask yourself, why does peace feel heavier now, almost like responsibility? Because once heaven rebuilds you, peace isn't a feeling, it's a standard. You begin protecting it with intention, setting boundaries that honor your growth. You no longer explain your calling to those committed to misunderstanding it. You no longer fight to prove your worth, because you know, and knowing is the purest form of power. There's another sign, one you might overlook: divine discontent. Even when things are going well, something in you whispers, there's more. That's not greed, it's guidance. It's the Spirit reminding you that your journey doesn't end at good enough. It keeps calling you toward excellence, the divine kind, not worldly perfection. And then there's the shift in your relationships. People who once mirrored your old pain start fading away, and new souls begin to appear, gentle, grounded, aligned. The old crowd will think you've changed, but the truth is, you've simply remembered who you are. Heaven doesn't rebuild your connections to please your ego. It reconstructs your circle to reflect your evolution. Your dreams change too. You no longer crave recognition, you crave purpose. You no longer chase validation, you chase vision. And this is the sign heaven loves most. When your prayers stop being about what you want and start being about who you're becoming. That's when the divine architecture is nearly complete. Rebuilding is not glamorous. It happens in quiet mornings, in sleepless nights, in prayers that sound like whispers. But it's in those small, hidden moments that God does His greatest work. You may not see it, but every day your spirit is being upgraded, your energy refined, your destiny fortified. Chosen one, when heaven rebuilds you, it doesn't just restore what you lost. It replaces it with something eternal. You won't need to chase alignment anymore. You'll embody it. You won't look for confirmation. You'll become it. And everything that once confused you will make sense in perfect hindsight. So if you've felt the silence lately, the solitude, the sacred stillness, take heart. That's the sound of construction in heaven's workshop. The Spirit is laying new foundations beneath your life, invisible but unshakable. You're not being emptied for no reason. You're being cleared for completion. And when the rebuilding is done, you won't recognize yourself, not because you've changed into someone new, but because you've finally become who you were always meant to be. Chosen one, there comes a sacred moment when the transformation you've endured in silence begins to reveal itself in light. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's quiet, but undeniable. You begin to feel like someone you've met before, yet never fully known. That's your new spirit emerging. The version of you heaven has been forming in secret is finally stepping forward. For a long time, you carried the weight of old energies, fear, shame, exhaustion, doubt. But now something inside you feels lighter. You wake up with a strange calm in your chest, a peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. That's the first sign that the Spirit has taken full residence. The storms outside don't shake you anymore because the weather inside has changed. Ask yourself, Why do I feel more peaceful even though life is still uncertain? Because peace is no longer a condition. It's become your character. The Holy Spirit has taught you how to carry heavens within. What used to drain you now strengthens you. What used to scare you now stretches you. You've become someone who no longer reacts from pain, but responds from purpose. This emergence feels like waking up after a long spiritual sleep. You start noticing beauty again, the way light hits the morning air, the rhythm of your breath, the softness in moments you once rushed through. The world hasn't changed, but your vision has. You no longer look for signs. You are the sign. You've become evidence of divine work done in silence. Your energy carries a new frequency, grounded yet radiant, calm yet powerful. People can sense it even before you speak. They don't understand what's different, but they feel it because your aura now holds the vibration of heaven, steady, sure, unshaken. That's the power of alignment. It speaks without needing words. Have you noticed how your spirit no longer competes? How comparison feels foreign and validation feels unnecessary? That's because the Holy Spirit has removed the hunger to prove. You no longer chase identity. You embody it. You know who you are, and that knowing radiates through everything you do. That's divine confidence, not arrogance, but awareness of purpose. This new version of you carries authority that can't be faked. When you speak, people listen, not because of volume, but because of vibration. The spirit within you gives weight to your words, presence to your silence, and direction to your actions. You've become a vessel of divine order in a world drowning in confusion. That's what heaven builds when it remakes a soul from within. Ask yourself, why do people suddenly react differently to me? Some are drawn closer, others pull away. It's because light exposes. When the new spirit emerges, not everyone can stay in its glow. Those meant for your next season will recognize you by energy, not explanation. Those not meant to continue will fade, quietly, naturally, without conflict. That's divine filtration, not rejection. You may feel a strange mix of stillness and power, like a river that looks calm but carries strong current beneath. That's exactly what you are now. Your strength no longer needs to shout. It flows, steady and intentional, and wherever you go, you bring clarity because you are clarity. When the new spirit emerges, you stop asking when and start trusting now. You realize that divine timing isn't about waiting, it's about readiness. You've become the answer to your own prayers because the one who prayed is no longer the same. The Spirit has replaced desperation with direction. You don't beg the universe for signs anymore. You walk in faith and let signs follow you. Chosen one, this new spirit inside you is heaven's signature. It's the proof that your wilderness wasn't wasted, that your waiting wasn't in vain. You've been through the fire, but the fire didn't burn you. It branded you with purpose. Your walk now carries grace. Your words carry wisdom. Your silence carries power. That's what it looks like when the Holy Spirit finishes its inner construction. This is your emergence, the moment when the divine within you becomes visible to the world, not as pride, but as presence, not as control, but as surrender, not as perfection, but as peace. You are no longer who you were. You are who God always saw. And now, the world will see it too. Because when the Spirit finishes its work inside you, everything outside must eventually align. You don't chase your destiny anymore. your destiny starts chasing you. Chosen one. This is the part where everything begins to make sense. Every silence, every storm, every delay that once confused you now begins to reveal its divine order. Because the spirit that rebuilt you from within didn't just come to heal you, it came to lead you. You are no longer wandering. You are walking under divine direction. Every step you take now is guided by a voice the world can't hear, but your soul can't ignore. The Holy Spirit is not just your comforter, it's your compass. It's the still, clear presence that rises within you when decisions feel heavy. It's the whisper that tells you to wait when your flesh wants to rush. It's the peace that interrupts your worry and reminds you that heaven is still in control. Your spirit has been tuned to God's frequency, and now divine purpose is becoming your natural rhythm. Ask yourself, how do I know if I'm on the right path? The answer is simple. Peace. Not comfort, not applause, not validation. Peace. The kind that settles in your chest even when the outcome is uncertain. That peace is heaven's yes. That peace is the Spirit's navigation. It may lead you through unfamiliar territory, but it will never lead you astray. You've spent years asking for signs, and now you are one. You're a living demonstration of what happens when someone chooses faith over fear, surrender over control. Your life is becoming a sermon without words. And everything that once felt wasted, every detour, every heartbreak, every closed door, was part of heaven's blueprint. Nothing was random. Every chapter trained you for the moment you'd begin walking in purpose. Have you noticed how your instincts have shifted? How what once excited you now feels irrelevant, and what once scared you now feels like calling? That's the Spirit steering your soul toward destiny. Purpose doesn't always announce itself with clarity. Sometimes it begins as a quiet conviction that refuses to fade. It's that pull that keeps drawing you towards something greater, even when you can't explain why. That's heaven's hand on your heart, guiding you toward where you're meant to serve. And when you start walking in purpose, everything changes. You begin to see why you had to wait, why certain people couldn't come with you, why doors stayed closed until you were strong enough to walk through them. The Spirit never denies you what's meant for you. It delays it until you're prepared to protect it. That's divine timing, not rejection. Ask yourself, can I trust where the Spirit is taking me even when I can't see it? That's the question that defines every chosen one. Because faith isn't about knowing what's next. It's about trusting who's leading. And the Spirit that transformed you is the same Spirit that will sustain you. It will go before you, clearing obstacles you didn't even know were there. It will whisper when to move and when to rest. It will place you in rooms you never imagined, not because of who you know, but because of who you've become. The path ahead won't always feel easy, but it will feel right. And as you walk, you'll notice something extraordinary. Divine coincidences multiplying around you. The right people at the right time. The right words appearing in moments of doubt. The sudden confirmations that come like lightning through your spirit. That's the universe responding to your alignment. That's heaven echoing your obedience. Chosen one, you are no longer chasing purpose. You're walking in partnership with it. The Holy Spirit is your strategist now. It's aligning your voice, your vision, your timing, your encounters. and every move you make in faith becomes a divine appointment waiting to unfold. When the Spirit leads, fear loses its grip. You stop asking what if and start declaring even if, because you've seen too much to doubt the God who carried you this far. He didn't rebuild you to leave you wandering. He restored you so you could lead others back to the same light. Your story is not for shame, it's for testimony. And as this new chapter unfolds, you'll feel heaven's hand resting on your shoulders, reminding you that every trial was preparation, every silence was sacred training, and every tear was the water that made your purpose grow. You are not who you were. You are who you were always meant to be. A vessel of light, a voice of truth, a chosen one, walking hand in hand with the Spirit, guided by purpose that cannot fail. So step forward, speak when the Spirit gives you words, rest when it says, wait, move when it says now. Because from this moment forward, you are not guessing your way through life. You are being guided, and heaven itself moves with every step you take.